All right, we are live on the Bagland podcast. We got Bagland DP and Brother Solomon here. It's been about a good month, and I want to start this off by playing some good old music and a couple different things, and we're going to get right into it.
What would you do if I sang out of tune?
Give you a black eye.
Would you stand up and walk out on me? What would you?
Hustling all day trying to make this living. Gotta feed my kids, ain't got time for this tricking. What my guys know about this Ike Turner pimping? What my guys know about this Ike Turner pimping? Going ham in the streets trying to feed my folks. We dying every day cause a hood need hope. What my guys know about this Ike Turner pimping? What my guys know about this Ike Turner pimping?
What them boys?
Fair use,
Well,
YouTube.
I guess one of your kids' mothers was one of your hoes at one point?
Yeah, more than one of them.
More than one. Okay, so a few of them got pregnant along the way by you.
Maybe like four of them.
Aha. Okay. When they got pregnant, what was your initial reaction? When you got your first one pregnant, did you already have children by that point or no?
I probably did.
Okay. Probably did.
Oh, man. So we got a RICO. And the prosecution has not been giving a good idea. They haven't really been being able to prove that there's been a financial transaction. What do you make of that?
Well, we got more witnesses
That's true.
coming to the stand. They got more witnesses coming to the stand, and it's like when you follow those trials on a day-to-day basis, it's almost like watching a sports game where like one team is up and another team is coming back, so you're kind of swayed. Who you think? When the prosecution has got somebody on the stand, you think, well, shit, they're doing good, and the defense gets on the stand, you say he's doing good. So at the end of the day, it's about, is the defense are they creating doubt? And I would say yes.
Yeah.
But you also have to take into account who's on the jury. Is it me? Is it you? You know what I mean? Is it Joe Blow, some average white dude? He could convict that motherfucker. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I mean the defense today, they brought up that Diddy has a bipolar condition.
That was
which
a good
wasn't
one.
right.
You don't. Oh, you
I
don't.
don't know. I don't think it really helped anything. You know what I mean? But what they should have been harping on is Cassie being a willing participant.
Oh, I want to do another freak off.
When's the next freak off? And she asked to be pissed on.
Yeah, because you got
And all that is all that's good. But one thing everybody has to take into account, because I hear Tariq Nasheed, and I've seen him and a couple people comment about that, but everybody has to understand this. If there's 100 freak offs and 99 times she's okay with it, piss on me, beat me, do all this, and there's one time she didn't want to do it, he drug her out of the room.
That's over. That's it.
That's all it takes. And it doesn't even have to be Cassie, because there's another victim that's going to be coming next week.
Casting more doubt. Like, okay, did he really do this?
Say that he's in the room. Say he's got a freak off with a girl, and then he's got an escort in there too, which is weird, But that's a whole nother story, male escort. So he's got the male escort and he's got the girl, and he's sitting there masturbating on the couch. And the girl gets up and says, I don't want to do this anymore. And she gets up and goes in the bathroom, and he drags her by her hair and pulls her back out. That's it.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
And the escort can say, yeah, I seen that. That's it. That's it. It just takes one time. And where the human trafficking comes in is it's not always a sex act. It's not always money. It's that I take you across. See, the feds got smart with that. You know what I mean? So here's what they do now. Now they hit you with this. Did you take her across state lines and force her into sex acts? You see how they word that?
So
They ain't worried
basically,
about no money.
so basically,
They ain't
if
worried
you
about
tell,
money. Did you force her to do any sex acts?
did you tell her to take off her drawers, Rico?
Anything? Did you tell her, hey, we finna do a freak off?
So
Bitch, we finna do a freak off.
So even-
or bitch, we're in the middle of a freak off, and you know, might be sore. She might not be in the mood, and he's bitch. I got some tapes on you, bitch. And he done already alluded to that. Cassie said.
And then
She said there was on a private plane. He just popped up. He just played it on the computer in front of a whole bunch of people.
like, hey, I got this. You better not say a word. You better do these freak offs.
Man, but see, the thing is her credit. You know, you gotta, like I said, if I'm on the jury, I'm already done. I already know she's a willing participant. Ain't nobody forced you to do nothing, bitch. What charges you got? Is he being charged with domestic violence? Because I'll find him guilty. Is he getting charged with being an asshole, being a bitch ass nigga?
You didn't go to the
All that
police.
shit, but
We both know that he's a slime ball. We both know he probably did do this shit. But can you prove it in court?
no, he didn't. But he's a sexual deviant that had a weird sexual whatever fetish, this and that. And that bitch was a drug addict prior to meeting him, and that was a way for her to get high.
He wanted to
Wait
be
a minute. So if I do these freak offs, I'm getting drugs.
Well, and let's look at another thing too that people don't, that don't look at. And this is something, and one thing I wanted to do is I want to expand on the Bagland with not just tech politics. We want to definitely get back into tech because we don't really cover that as much. But Ryan Leslie, and folks try to overtake him. If you listen to a lot of this music, this brother has some phenomenal music, man. He has some phenomenal production. And Ryan was the first person that actually put him on. Let's kind of take a deep dive into that a little bit, because Ryan Leslie, this brother plays all kinds of instruments. He was with Cassie at one point. He gave her a major hit. See, I thought that she got with Diddy and she was just a complete nobody completely. Like, just, I didn't know that Ryan Leslie found her.
Fine to be a nobody.
Then you could say get it.
Fine to be a nobody. If you're a producer. You're a producer, and you see a bitch like that trying to sing, you finna tell her anything you want. Then he signed into a 10-contract deal.
I see why. Like, here's he's easy on the eyes now. These kind of remind me that one time when you was telling me that lady in the neighborhood, you was like, okay, yeah, this the best looking neighborhood. A nigga will pull up on something like that and be like, what's your problem? Yeah.
Ayana Yarbrough?
Yeah.
You talking about Yarbrough? I said, where this bitch at?
Yeah.
I ain't never seen this hoe. Somebody got a shootout for me to see her? God damn.
You like, she like, my kids ain't black enough. That's what I'm saying. Like, a dude could pull up and see something like that, and what problems you got? Like, oh, I'm homeless. Like, how?
She got billionaire niggas. She got billion. This Diddy is a legitimate billionaire.
Legitimate.
And she got him acting a fool.
Yeah.
If I'm Diddy, I'm gonna say, wait a minute. I don't care who Kid Cudi is. He could be, a very accomplished artist and everything. He ain't Diddy.
Right.
I would look at it like, bitch, you gonna leave me for these niggas? Good luck.
Yeah. See,
But you put in when you trick off on women, and I know this from years of being around pimps and being around that industry. Was never in it, but around it.
Right.
When you're a John, which what he was, he's a trick. When you're a trick, it's hard to let go because you put so much time and money in. Like, man, I didn't bought this bitch this, I didn't did, because she ain't never brought up none of that. Diddy spending the millions on her. We all know that. She ain't brought none of that up. You know what I mean? So he's seeing it. Wait a minute, you leaving me for Kid Cudi, bitch? I didn't spend all this money on you. I guarantee we whooping her ass. He's bringing all that up when she's not trying to do the freak off. Bitch, I done bought all the drugs. You done did all the dope. Now you don't want to. Just think of it like this. Prior to you being married, I'm sure you hung out with girls, and maybe a girl that you brought over like to get high or drunk, and maybe you brought a drink for her, or you bought her a little weed or something. And the bitch done did all the drugs or smoked all the weed, drank all the liquor, and she ain't trying to give up no pussy.
Yeah.
That's a problem. You know what I mean? That's going to be a problem.
You know what this reminds me of?
We see people that are billionaires, but realistically, they got the same issues. A simp is a simp, bro. I don't care if a simp has $1 billion or no. Look at him. Just the things you see how he be beating on the girl and shit. That's simp shit, man.
Yeah.
If you're real, if your shit is strong and you got that kind of money, there's no simping allowed when you have that kind of money, bro. And that's the real reason. If you break it all down, pink cocaine, da 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 da.
He wanted to be like his mama. His mama was a pimp. This reminds me of this right here.
His mama was a pimp. He was far from it.
He didn't listen to this enough. Fair use, YouTube.
Yeah.
He should have been sitting back listening.
Mafia.
He should have been sitting back listening to Sweet James Jones, Sugar Free, and some Pimpin' Ken. Like, come on, dude. You $1 billion nigga. Like,
He didn't spend no time around them niggas, man. You a billionaire nigga. Just fucking acting a fucking fool. Get the fuck out of here, man. At a certain point, I have sympathy for him in the sense that he didn't do that shit, and he's being charged with it, which is fucked up. But it's really fucked up to be sitting in court and you ain't do that shit. And they got ways of twisting it and making it seem like you did. But here's the golden truth. Okay, your viewers and you and probably 1 million people that are watching this are thinking, why did she get $20 million from Diddy? She got $10 million from the hotel, so that's $30 million.
yeah, she gonna get $10 million. They're still negotiating.
Yeah, why does a person that has no actual talent, that's got $30 million in their bank account, all because of Diddy, on top of all the jewelry and other shit she done got and connections she done made, why do you think she's still going after him?
Now,
Because she could have went to trial, she could have went to court and pled the fifth, or she could have just said, nah, ain't do shit to me.
let's play devil's advocate. Now,
Hold on, but why? The question is why. You want to know why? So when they broke up, that white boy, the personal trainer, that was a guy that Diddy hired for her.
he was punching at the wall like dude from Boys in the Hood.
Yeah, hold on. Diddy hired this dude to train her for her next album or whatever the fuck he was gaming her into thinking. He hired dude. Okay, she left Diddy for a white boy that he hired. Okay, so here's the golden nugget. He blackballed her supposed career. He told any producer that had any, cause see, not only not because she left him, she still kept the connection. So I know this producer through Diddy, and she's calling all them. Like, I broke up with Diddy, but we're cool. So I want to do music with y'all. Diddy put the word in. Anybody do music with her, you know, y'all niggas is through.
Yeah, he had that.
Y'all niggas is through.
He had that kind of
and
power.
I can go to Clive Davis, and I can go to these motherfuckers and say, don't fuck with him. He's on drugs. Or he's a gang member. You're going to get a Rico fucking with him.
One phone call. One.
So that is why you still see her with a vendetta. The vendetta is I don't get to have a career.
Well, now let's look at this. Now, that's why I want to bring up Leslie. And I definitely don't think this brother gets all the credit.
Who is this guy? Is he a producer?
Yeah,
rapper?
He's a phenomenal producer, and he sings too, and he's pretty good. Now, he's kind of overshadowed probably because he don't get into the flim-flammery. But take a look at this, man. Now, Leslie was credited with finding her out in 2004. So he signed her to his next selection record in a joint venture with Bad Boy for 2 years later. Now, he wrote and produced her single, Me and You, 2006. Now, I don't know if you ever heard that. So I'm going to play a very, very quick, so I don't get a copyright strike. So I'm just going to play something, and then I'm going to kind of go on so you could kind of see. So this is the song. Fair use, YouTube. Now that was just that. Now I'm gonna play a little more, and you can tell she can't sing worth a damn. But nevertheless, we're gonna focus on the math.
You've been waiting so long.
Yeah. So yeah, no talent whatsoever. Now, but the thing is, she's like, okay, I'm fine. So that'll do. Now that went platinum. That went number 3 on the Billboard in 2006. Now, he did that entirely on the whole album. He produced the whole album, and then he signed with Universal Motown to release his own album. He had a song with Fabulous and Cassie called Diamond Girl and Addiction. Now, his stuff sounded pretty good. Now, we're going to go a little further down. And now, I got the information. I'm a hip-hop historian, so we're going to go down a little bit more. Now, this brother, he went on outside of music in 2015 to found a direct text marketing service called Superphone in 2015. So, I just want to break it down so y'all got kind of an understanding. Okay, so now, after he graduated college, his parents allowed him to go into the music industry. He went to Boston. He was working community service jobs. He spent nights in the recording studio working on his music. He moved back home with his parents in Phoenix, and they gave him a $15,000 loan for a production studio. That was probably one of the most best things they could have done for that brother. So now, in the summer of 2003, he landed a production internship with producer Young Lord. Now, who is Young Lord? He's one of the hitmen. All right, he's heavy hits.
Oh, that's
so that's the hitmen. Now, let me tell you. Now, let's put some respect on his name. He did No Way Out. He did Harlem World. He did Big Pun, You Ain't a Killer. He did the Soul in the Hole contract. He did Notorious Big's Hypnotize. He did Big Pun's Capital Punishment. He did stuff on Fat Joe, Faith Evans, 112, Locks, Money, Power, Respect, Tash, Rap Life, Black Rob, I Dare You, Lil Kim, LL Cool J, Cool G Rap, Lloyd Banks. This brother is the truth. So he was working with him as a young guy. This dude, he's an OG producer. He did some of my favorite tracks on Black Rob. Let's put some respect on Black Rob. Rest in power, Black Rob. Now, so his first week, he produced a song, Keep Giving You Love, which was eventually performed by Beyonce on the Bad Boys 2 soundtrack. Now, the soundtrack was supervised by Diddy, and Diddy was impressed with his production style and offered him a management contract. So not a production contract, but a management. Now, under the management of Combs, because Puffy's a great manager, he worked on a lot of Bad Boy stuff. He worked on Loon, Sherry Dennis, New Edition, Danity Kane. He co-wrote a record for Britney Spears. In 2003, he was introduced by his attorney to Tommy Mottola. Who is Tommy Mottola? Big wig, super big. He was married to Mariah Carey at one point. So Mottola became his mentor, offered him a publishing deal with Aspen Songs and a recording contract with Casablanca, with Mottola's imprint through Universal Music Group. So under the mentorship of Mottola and Combs, Leslie signed Cassie. All right, now let's go down a little bit further. Now, he started dealing with Cassie at one point in time. Now, Cassie probably said, you know what? The hell with this. He can get me some hits, but I want to go with the big dog. Bring me to your boss. So Diddy probably started hollering at her one point in time, and she probably said, well, naturally, shit, I want to go with the big nigga. So she acted like she was getting ready to go to Miami to do some business work or whatever, and she started messing with Diddy. Now, here's my point I want my listeners to understand. Yeah, we can try to have some sympathy for Cassie, but here's the thing. You chose to dance with the devil. You could have stayed with Leslie. He had money. He was a high-paying producer and all of this kind of stuff. He was doing his thing, but you chose to dance with the devil. You probably has heard some things about the dude. You know, she tried to say, well, you know, he was the one that showed me how to give head and all that. I believe that's a damn lie. She was doing that. She's 21 years old talking about she don't know how to, man, please. You know what I'm saying? She 19, 18, 19, 20, 21, man, talking about, yeah, Diddy's the first person. Man, please, you was with Ryan for 3 years. You know how to knock something back. Let's not do that. So, you know, when they try to say that. So, look, now, I want to dig in and give Ryan a little bit more respect. So let's look at the history. This is a history channel, y'all. So now, while as a producer, he went on to create Next Selection Lifestyle Group, his music media company he founded with online marketing partner Rashid Richmond. His first artist was Cassie in 2005. Under Leslie's guidance, Cassie went on to become one of the fastest rising R&B acts that year. Her breakout singer, Me and You, written and produced by Leslie, spent 20 weeks on Billboard's Hot 100 Top 40. And I know you're a stickler for sales. I know you know, Solomon, like, this was around 2006. We probably wouldn't remember it because we were maybe 5 years out of high school. It's not a song that you would have, you know, you might have heard it one time in a bar or a club, but, you know, it's not something that we would have been like, oh, because it wasn't dope. But it went platinum.
Was it a banger? Was it a banger?
It was cool. I played it for you just a little bit ago. So now, after that, now keep in mind. Remember when David Banner was talking about how streaming was a bad idea? We're going to get to that in a minute. But this was before streaming. You remember when we were in high school, we had the CDs, and then I was downloading off Napster and stuff. So we had MP3s. You were still in the downloading phase. So it sold over 1 million digital units and was the 14th most successful song of 2006. I mean, this was a big hit. You got to keep in mind, like, nowadays, dudes can basically shoot a video and they might do some streaming and stuff like that. It wasn't like how it was back in the day. Back in the day, they had to build artists, like you see what he did with Cassie, take her into the studio. Now, you could just give a nigga a blunt and a 40 and a 40, and this you could just grab you the random little gangbanging nigga off the block, and if he got something to people and you shoot him a little $500 video, I mean, you got to think, you could shoot stuff with your iPhone damn near. So, sometimes people like that gritty, grimy stuff. They like, oh man, just shoot it on the phone, Joe. And then before you know it, you throw it up on YouTube, and this little young gangbanging nigga done got 1 million views. Now, it's not 1 million sales, and yeah, he may not get a major deal, but if you're a drug dealing, gangbanging ass nigga that was probably gonna end up in prison somewhere, and you done got 1 million views, you could probably sign up with Sound Exchange and TuneCore, and a label might come knocking later. But for example, drill rap, Chicago rap, and I'm not saying right or wrong, I'm just saying Chief Keef. You're just some sweaty nigga that was in some basement on house arrest, and you loaded up your video and put it online and it does 1 million views. You if you're smart enough, you could just say, well, man, let me just record the rest of the album and just put it on iTunes myself, and you could get all of that. That's what Chief should have did. But with him being on house arrest, he probably figured, well, man, let me get out the hood before these niggas kill me. And he probably said, well, shit, and the labels come knocking. These executives are like, okay, yeah, he may not even make it till next year. But if he does, we got some hits on our hand. Because people like Soulja Boy and Chief Keef, they were the pioneers of what became to what we call streaming and videos doing millions of views and stuff, and these guys not necessarily having a label just yet. And then the label like, okay, yeah, this some little dumb nigga from the ghetto, let's sign his ass. He ain't never had no money. Give him 2-3 million. To them, that's a gold mine. You got to think, these kids never really thought they'd probably make it off the block. They were like, okay, we rapping, we did a video. Chief Keef and Soulja Boy and all them, they probably never thought they would, do probably 50,000 views, which ain't really that much. I mean, it's cool for somebody underground, but these are guys 15, 16, 17 years old, probably 14, 13. They don't think that they're gonna make the impact that they did, and they look up and this shit is a hit, and they're like, well, damn, people actually watching this shit. And they're like, fuck it, let me record a couple more songs. And then the label starts coming around. Now you got 50 Cent coming around like, yeah, I'm about to get some money out these niggas. You see what I'm saying? So when you think about the digital downloads, we used to pay $1 per download. I want all of my listeners to listen up real good. Me and Solomon's generation, we used to pay $1 if we're going to iTunes. And we come from the generation of going to Sam Goody. And we buying the whole CD for 15. Sometimes how much was that Tupac double disc? $25? 30? Like it was a double disc was $25. And now, so around 2013, Ryan came out with an album called Black Mozart. And the album rollout strategy galvanized him to start what they call Superphone, a direct text marketing service. Now this is something that if you look maybe 15 years later almost, Nipsey Hussle started to do, but it was a different technology. This technology was fresh off the chart for us. Now it didn't catch on just yet, but you could tell he was ahead of his time. So in subsequent months, musicians like 50 Cent, Raphael Sadiq, Tony, legends out of the Bay Area, Talib Kweli, they started using that underlying technology to launch their respective upcoming studio albums and power their own music membership clubs. So now what you're doing is what Tory Lanez did just now. You're taking the power back in your hands. So This is what Talik Kweli said about the experience in the interview. Quote, "The first thing that appears to me is the direct contact with the fans and the fact that I received their emails. The second thing is the fact that the money comes directly to me when you buy the album from me. It goes directly in my account. There's nobody taking my cut." That right there that I just said is what labels begin to hate. Wait a minute. We got some smart Negroes. Now, I said this was in 2013. What time did Chief Keef come out? 2013. This was around the time when these folks was starting to get this streaming together. If we could get blacks to just say, well, look, I don't need the major deal where we got to spend millions and millions of dollars. You know, Chief Keef's video probably only cost $1,000 to record. When you remember P. Diddy Hate Me Now and Nas, how much was that video? $100,000. Matter of fact, it wasn't $100,000. That Nas Hate Me Now with Diddy was $1 million. I want my listeners to understand how much it costed to shoot a video back then. Well, that was over the top. They had tigers in it and they were doing the most. But, you know, Hype Williams used to charge $100 at least. Busta Rhymes, Janet Jackson, man, that shit was about $500,000. You know what I'm saying, to shoot that video. So, you know, now you got kids that could literally shoot a video for a couple $100, if not free. You see what I'm saying? You might get a dude to get a camera, and then you got a dude, he's a rapper, and then now we got a video. You know what I'm saying? And so that's what it gave the power to young guys, young kids off the block, where they didn't have to go and kiss these white executives' ass to a certain degree. They could go directly to the internet. But when you look at the streaming, you're getting pennies. Before you were getting pennies on the album, maybe 10, 15 cent an album, depending on your publishing. Man, you're not even getting pennies per stream. You got to sell like Drake or Kendrick or Future or T.I. or somebody. Like, you got to Kanye. In order to get some real, I'm talking about big money streaming. That way the streamers, they get all the money, but the labels aren't getting the money. So let's move on to the next piece. Now, eventually, Ryan started working with a venture capitalist called Ben Horowitz. Now, who is Ben Horowitz? Now, he previously co-founded and served as president and chief executive officer of the enterprise software which HP acquired in 2007. So he started working with some heavy hitters. Now, in 2009, Horowitz and Andreessen, some other guy, they launched Andreessen Horowitz to invest in and advise both early stage startups and more established growth companies in high tech. So their initial capitalization was $300 million, and within 3 years, they had $2.7 billion under management across these funds. So Ryan is like Chameleonaire. You remember riding Dirty Chameleonaire? He started going into the tech world. He's like, you know, this rap shit, hey, no. I'm about to do something else. So now, in online presence, he talked about MySpace. Now, you remember MySpace? People don't use that much anymore, but MySpace, Twitter, his YouTube channel, and his blog have been the biggest contributors to his fan base. He often documented his interaction with the audience, including giving away free iPods, backstage passes to his concerts, and invitations to have dinner with him. So he became a marketing genius to a certain degree. You see, so just so you guys got a background of Ryan Leslie, yeah, this dude was no slouch. But see, Cassie was kind of like, you know what? Let me go above him. He ain't good enough for me. So you went and you danced with the devil. You went and found a sexual deviant, you know, and you started using drugs after you didn't start liking it, but you fell in love with this dude. You could tell Diddy was her first love. We all know that. You could see. She was like, I don't hate the guy. She wants to punish him, but you could tell she don't want him unalived. She don't want nothing serious. She does not. You could tell she does not want serious harm. And that does not speak of a person that's been trafficked for financial gain. You know, you with a boyfriend, you know, you date Michael B. Jordan here, you dating this dude, you dating that dude, you just getting ran through because you figured that, well, I've been whoring in the freak offs. And then you jump up and say, well, oh, he violated me. We went to dinner and he violated me. And then you tell your boyfriend he violated and he's punching through the walls like, do you remember Boys in the Hood? Let me see if I can find that. You remember boys? Do you remember Boys in the Hood when dude was punching through the walls?
Yeah. Yeah, he was mad.
He was
Cuba
mad.
Gooding Jr.
Cuba. Here it goes. You know why he did that, right? He was punching through the walls because he acted like he was afraid, or not afraid, but angry of the, he living in South Central and he just got tired of the nigga shit, man. People killing each other and, Ice Cube's brother end up getting shot.
Now, what's this about? He got up out of one of the freak offs and grabbed his gun and went to go get Suge Knight.
Well, I think what happened is, at one point, I think maybe him and Suge had a little thing because they know each other. They know each other very, very well. You know what I'm saying? They've been running in the same circles and stuff. But maybe he felt bullied because Diddy's only gonna bully whoever he could bully. He ain't gonna be bullying Suge. You know what I'm saying? So maybe he felt bullied.
That was all cap. That was to show her. That was for her to think he's tough.
Yeah. So he probably said, "Well, I know where he's at."
He brought her with.
He brought her with, and she probably would have been dumb enough to actually do it.
I got some business to handle. If I'm laying up with a bitch and I got some business to handle, I'm not gonna tell her, "All right, let's go." But you sit your ass here. Let me go handle this, and I'll be right back.
Yeah, you're not gonna bring her with.
Right.
So
that was it. Somebody might have bullied. Somebody might have punked him in front of her or something.
Yeah, that's probably what happened.
He wanted to kind of bring it back. Yeah, I'm gonna go punk Suge Knight. Woo, woo, woo.
Well, he had his power.
Bitch.
It's nothing worse than being a billionaire or a nigga who got all this money and you're a coward. That's not gonna look good in front of your lady.
Yeah, but think about this though. If she thought that was real, she must be thinking he's crazy. He's really gonna go after Suge Knight?
Well, that too.
That was all a ploy for her to think, oh wow, Diddy, he's a badass.
Well, when she
that goes to show you where his brain was, and that's for all your listeners to know. A simp is a simp. You can put $1 billion in that motherfucker's bank account. He's still a simp, and that his behavior shows you all that. What the fuck?
Now check this
I'm
out.
so disappointed in him. I hope his son see what his behavior and don't copy that shit.
Oh, he's absolutely going to. You could see it. It's all in his face. He's, you got to think he's up here dissing.
One?
I don't know.
Short?
I don't know. Whatever the one the one that thinks he gonna diss 50 Cent and diss all these rappers and can't rap.
King. Well, King. The thing is, King is he got a screw loose.
He's on his way. He's on his way, just like his
King
dad.
Gonna hurt somebody.
I hope this
Rico
Rico
hurt somebody.
I hope this Rico lets him know, hey nigga, yeah, you be sitting up here next to your daddy. Because see, here's the thing, like
yeah, it will. But not if his dad gets off.
Oh man, it's gonna turn him into a monster. He'll be a monster.
Oh, if Diddy gets off of this, I feel sorry for it. It's gonna be a whole lot of freak off. It's gonna be twice as bad. It's gonna be twice as bad if he gets off of this shit. He gonna think I gotta get out of jail free pass now. I'm freaking off.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be a freak off. He gonna have freak offs in every city, man. Yeah.
Freak off is basically him watching somebody fuck his girl.
Yeah, and he might join in here and there. That white shit. That's like an old European thing. Like, okay, I'm rich and I'm bored. You know what I'm saying? Let me watch you.
That's the first black man I ever heard. Dude, I've heard of plenty of white boys want to see a black dude fuck his girl, but I've never heard a black dude say that.
No, you're not going, most black men are going to cherish, they're not about to sit there and jack off and watch you mess with their, no. Black men, that's not their get down. They're not going to do that. They just not going to do that. So you got to think, where did he get this behavior from? He got this behavior from somebody else. And then,
all his behavior from white boys. Everything.
So
beating black artists.
See?
You don't see any white girls. You don't see any. Same thing with R. Kelly. You don't see any white girls he's doing that to.
No, that ain't gonna fly. That ain't gonna fly. He would
all black women.
That Rico would have happened. And see, that's the other thing. See, black folks here in America are looking at this and being watchful. And you asked me the other day, well, why if black folks ain't breaking their necks? Because you done got over on too many black folks to a certain degree. But at the same time, we're looking at it like, all right, well, you trying to charge my nigga with the Mann Act. Now, if anybody doesn't know what the Mann Act is, the Mann Act was an old school. It was what is what Neely Fuller coined, I'm white and I say so. Well, DP, what is what I'm white and I say so? Literally that. I'm white and I'm boss and I make the rules. So I'm white and I say so is common law in the system of white supremacy, aka America. I say what goes, and Negro, you're going to listen. And I have the power and the wealth and the influence and the laws to do whatever I want to do. And if somebody tries to say, well, DP, that don't happen no more. Well, you wouldn't have had Jim Crow. The Mann Act was basically I'm white and I say so law that was created for Jack Johnson. Who was Jack Johnson? Jack Johnson was a heavyweight champion of the world. First time in history where a black man could beat the shit out of a white dude and not get lynched back in the day. So he was whooping white dude's ass left and right. He was the best champion in the world. This was before Ali. This was about way back in the day, early 1900s. This brother was riding around in top-notch cars with white women in public in the 1900s. Oh, white folks hated him. They couldn't wait to string him up, but they couldn't really do it. You're not going to string up the heavyweight champion in the world unless you just catch him in the backwoods, Indiana, Mississippi, or something like that. But he did it, and he wasn't hiding it. So they said, okay, we got an uppity Negro right here. He obviously don't know how this works. So what they did with Jack Johnson is he had a white woman. It was his girl or his wife or something like that. And they said, you know what? You brought her across state lines. I think they went to a hotel or they went to a resort or whatever the case may be. And, that's his woman. That he's driving around with her and he drove out, drove to another state so he could, hang out with his woman. Police pulled him over like, hey, you raped her. That nigga's like, no, this is my woman. No, that's rape. Yeah, nigga, you raped her. And the white woman was probably like, hey, this is consensual. This is my man. We don't want to hear nothing about that. Yeah, you with a white woman? Yeah, oh, that's rape. And they locked him up. And they created what they call the Mann Act. You ain't no man. You a boy. You can't have no white woman. That's called rape. Even if it's consensual. That's the Mann Act. So that's pretty much what they charged Diddy with. I want y'all to look at the charges and look at the indictment. And then say, okay, they keep mentioning, well, criminal enterprise. The pretense is, well, you have the ability to do everything. Now, if we look at all the stuff she said he did, could he have done it? Nigga probably did. But you can do it. You're P. Diddy. You have power and control. We know you done ripped off a bunch of niggas before. All the shit that she's saying we did, we know you done did this shit. But can we prove it? She bought all the strippers. She bought the Astro Glide. She bought the candles. She's saying this in the text message. Diddy didn't buy shit. So they're like, okay, well, you forced her to do it. Then now she's sending emails like, I enjoyed it. So they're basically using the RICO Racketeering Act, the same thing as the Mafia, and the Mann Act to basically say, hold on, nigga. And I think what it really, really is was after when he sued that liquor company and said, hey, they racist, they got a settlement. I think that's part of it. And I think the big piece is that we need Bad Boy. We want this publishing. Because every time you look up, there's a RICO on a black man that has a considerable amount of wealth in publishing. Smokey Robinson, they trying to hit him with some BS. Oh, this happened 20 years ago. Well, what Smokey Robinson done wrote for the biggest songs in the world. R&B would not be R&B without Smokey Robinson. You see what I'm saying? He wrote Motown, all of our great. You would not have hip hop without Smokey Robinson and James Brown. You wouldn't have it. You see what I'm saying? Those two figures right there, you would not have it. You would not have hip hop without them. And of course, you got to have the blues and Chuck Berry and all them. But I'm just saying, our parents. My parents is gone, but when your mother was 17, 18. She probably listened. If she was listening to R&B, she probably was listening to Motown. If you were to call her up tonight or tomorrow morning and say, hey, Mom, what was you listening to? Smokey, Marvin, Tammy Terrell, the Commodores, the Shy Lights, James Brown. That's what she's going to tell you she listened to. 90% of the stuff that she listened to was Motown. And if she goes further, the blues. You see what I'm saying? Delta blues. That's what well, somebody may be a little older. If it was grandparents, if they was listening, I'm saying if they was listening to American music, they was listening to the blues. 98% of the time. That's what they was listening to in, you know what I'm saying, in the 40s and 50s and all of that. Now in the 70s, 60s, 70s, y'all was listening to Motown. That's what, hip hop wasn't around in as a concept. It wasn't around in the 50s. You know what I'm saying? Now, I played this before. In the 30s, I played some black men called the Jubilaires. They were rapping in the 30s, or was it the 50s? They were actually rapping. They didn't call it rap back then. They say, "Hey, I'm a rap with you," but they didn't call it rap music. But they was rapping. You see what I'm saying? So now, when you look at this RICO and you look at the way the judge is moving, we want to rush this, we want to rush this, we want to rush this. He wants to keep rushing it, and he gonna mess around and open up a door for a mistrial, because you're supposed to give the defense due process. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to see the judge and the prosecutor. That's the government. Now, the judge is supposed to operate as a separate entity to say, well, this is constitutional and that is not constitutional. That's what the judge is supposed to be doing, making sure that things move around. But he was trying to be pro-government. And what I mean by that is the government would be the prosecutor or the DA and the judge, so to say, as the same team. He's operating as if, well, I want the defense to move faster because she's pregnant. Well, we knew she was pregnant before she got on the stand. So, yeah, we know she's pregnant, so we got to keep in mind that she could have the baby. They don't want a mistrial is what they don't want, because that puts Sean in the Rolls Royce. That puts Sean back in his Rolls Royce because you got to cut him loose.
Well, not necessarily, but they will cut him loose just because of the amount of money that it's costing them.
Too much money.
Yeah, and then to know that we got to spend all this over again, because they know he will.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And you know what? If he's getting out, here's the thing what Sean can do. Yeah, y'all gonna hit me with some civil suits, but you know what? This is a mistrial. That gives them even more time. He could be out preparing even more. If they have the trial, and here's another thing, bro. I'm gonna be honest with you. That took a lot out of Cassie. She didn't want to do that again. You can see how her husband was looking. He's a simp too. You got to think that nigga was punching.
Oh, that's very embarrassing.
Man, look, I want y'all to listen to this. He was punching the wall. She said that Diddy violated her, and she went home and told him, and then she slept with him again. Remember Boys in the Hood? Look.
Yeah.
Here's the scene. He said, "I'm tired." He said, "I'm tired of this shit." Her husband was punching the wall like Boys in the Hood.
I'm tired of this shit.
Punching the wall because she cheated on him.
And look, Nia Long. Yeah, she said it was that she violated. She tried to say it was ape. It wasn't no ape. She went down there and did a freak off with Diddy on her own.
Yeah, she said he raped her, and then she went back out and had sex with him and went and had dinner with him again.
Yeah. So even if you try to say, what's Stockholm Syndrome?
If the jury's seeing that, the jury's got to see that, like, this was just a young girl that
was mad.
Fell in love with a rich motherfucker who treated her. The only thing he did that was anything like a pimp is he treated her like a hooker.
Right. Julia Robertson. What's that movie called? Julia Robertson.
He treated her like a hooker in the sense that if she wasn't on point, she's getting her ass whooped.
Here it is. And see, this Nia Long, you got to think that nigga was punching through the air. He was trying to hit Nia Long back in the day. You remember Boys in the Hood? He's punching through the air. You see, he's so bad, he punching through the air.
Yeah, but he's not punching in the air because of a girl.
Fuck you, fucking dirty as shit. Don't let me kill all you motherfuckers. Come on, motherfucker.
He was just on the hit, bro. He was just trying to hit something because you know right afterwards when she gave some sympathy sex.
Yeah, but he's not punching the wall because of the girl.
No. But I'm just saying, I just had to. I had to kind of bring people back because folks, a lot of people that's listening to this tonight, they won't know what we talking about. But if you watch Boys in the Hood, that dude punched in the wall because he cheated. Because you got to think, man, come on, man. Yo, so now, look, you're this white dude, and to Diddy, he was a nobody, right? You're the former employee, so you got this boyfriend, but now here I'm just saying, this is the narrative that she's saying. This dude is doing this, that, and the third. He's making me do stuff I don't want. But you go back to him, you have dinner. You go back to his apartment. How did he get in the apartment? Did he have the key? You sleep with him. You say that he violated you. You tell your boyfriend. You're sleeping with him too, right? Of course. So, so now, then a couple months later, you sleep with Diddy again, free consensual sex. Like, make it make sense. You know,
it makes sense in this regard. She's smart. She keeps simps around her. The bitch ain't got a lick of talent. She ain't got a lick of talent, and she got $30 million.
She got some game. She did a Kamala.
She got more game than anybody give her credit for.
As much as you know me, I'm no fan of Collard Green Harris. I think she's the most disrespectful broad in the. She done slept her way to the White House.
African Americans
this
built
Cassie
this
girl,
nation.
she's smart, man.
She knows what she's doing. She's smart.
Cassie's very smart. She knew to keep them simps around her. And the thing with the white boy is, hey, you know what? She might have to take the stand, and it might be a little embarrassing, but she can call her Wells Fargo, check her balance,
and it's good.
You know what I mean? It all makes sense.
It's good.
It all man, if you told me you're gonna give me $30 million, I gotta go on the stand and say a bunch of bullshit, I would too.
And then I get $10 million, and that's up for negotiation. And he's walking around, he's looking upset. And the thing is,
no, the $10 million is it's not from him.
It's from the hotel.
The $20 million was from him. The $10 million, she's suing the hotel, so I'm guessing she's suing them for maybe releasing the footage.
Yeah. You know, and then reputation, all of that kind of stuff. And the thing is, this is an interesting article. We'll talk about that too. Now, and you asked earlier, you said, well, DP, I didn't really listen too much of Kid Cudi's, and you sent this to me too. Let's cover this real quick, and then I'm gonna show you like the sales. When we talking about sales, you a sales guy, you a businessman, so you're asking like, how big is Cudi? Now this is very disturbing. Like,
You're fabulous. Happy birthday to you. Why won't you party with me for your birthday, man?
We partied for my birthday before. You came to my party.
But man, you ain't never really party, you know what I'm saying? Happy birthday.
Yeah, what kind of party? What's the party all about? What kind of party is this, man? Like, this is...
Felt like I was a milestone age. I'm gonna have a party, and we had parties, but I was more like just trying to just vibe, like just see where I... Look back on where I became.
Did you miss me though? For real? Because it seems like a thing.
I miss
this
partying
birthday
with
party,
Puff, man.
But I'm talking about for your birthday.
Huh?
Why won't you party with me for your birthday, man?
We partied for my birthday before. You came to my party.
No, but man, you ain't never really party. You know what I'm saying? Eyes, brother. Eyes. I understand. You know what I'm saying?
Nori sitting up there looking like, man, what's going on?
He ain't trying Nori or Jadakiss though. He tried Nori a little bit at first, but not much.
Yeah, he was.
I like how you be scrapping.
Jadakiss,
I like how you be scrapping, daddy.
He called him daddy. Jadakiss is
I like when you like this, daddy.
Daddy,
I like when you scrambling and scraping for shit. I like that. I like when you like this, daddy. Daddy, I like when you scrambling and scraping for shit.
Scrambling and scraping like, oh man, jeez.
I like when you're scrambling and scraping, daddy.
Scrambling and scraping like, and that's what I'm saying. Like this is something we at this point we used to hear things. We know. I wouldn't be surprised if Winans There was a dude, man, he wrote a book. I bought the book a long time ago, man. And people was just like discrediting this. It's the same thing. And I want to say something, man. This is like third time I brought this up. I owe Cuban Link a huge apology. Because we used to think that nigga was just hating on Fat Joe. He was telling the damn truth, man. He was telling the damn truth, man. And, you know, it's crazy because, like, this dude, it's called Dealing with the Devil. Let me look up the book real quick. Dealing with the Devil. Let me see if because I bought the book a minute ago. It's called, was it Mario Winans? Dancing with the Devil.
Ooh, did Cuban Link wrote a book?
Dude wrote a book in 2009.
Cuban Link.
Mark Curry, that's his name. Mark Curry. He was on Bad Boy.
What was he? I've seen him around. What was he, like a ghostwriter?
Man, he was a ghostwriter. He did what Pusha T, like, remember I always tell you about Pusha T with Kanye? Pusha T wrote that McDonald's jingle and stuff. Like, Pusha T got them bars. When you get to, like, levels of P. Diddy, like, now, this thing we say with, like, Drake, like, okay, you didn't write your bars. Well, nigga, you're not an executive really like that. You should write your bars. When you go against somebody like Kendrick, you can't come around and you can't call this hip-hop and say you didn't write your bars. We have this sacred thing. That's a cardinal sin not to write your bars. But when you get to, like, P. Diddy and Kanye, them niggas ain't got time to write no damn lyrics. They ain't got time to write no damn lyrics. So they like, man, look, I'm running a label. I got the Grammy family. Nigga, I got John Legend. I got Sci-Hi the Prince. I need Pusha T and Sci-Hi the Prince. You never heard of Sci-Hi the Prince. I got to play you some stuff. You talk about bars? Furious bars. I'm talking about old school 1990 kind of bars. Pusha T.
Kanye?
He signed with Kanye, and he didn't come out for a long time. If you look at Sci-Hi the Prince, Sci-Hi was one of them dudes. He used to be with BMF and them. Yeah, BMF. He used to be with BMF. And he talked about that a lot and stuff like that. I didn't know that till later on. I thought he was just some New York nigga, but I can't remember. He's from Atlanta. Now, when you listen to him, he kind of got like the southern accent and stuff, but you could tell, and I'm not, that sounds bad me saying that, but you could tell he came up under the Nas, the AZs, they give it to Jay-Z's, the Rakims. You could tell he came up under that. And he from Atlanta, so he got the Atlanta accent, but, and I'm not saying that you know Atlanta can't rap. I would never say that. I'm just saying, you know, the perception is, and this was a perception that was for a long time, is, oh, you from the South, you can't rap, you ain't got no bars because you got an accent. That's false. That's a damn lie. We got Andre 3000, you got Face, you got Tila. I mean, I can keep going down the damn list. Now, but Sci-Hi the Prince used to write them bars for Ye. Furious bars. We'll play that in a minute. But let's get back to Dancing with the Devil, how Puff burned the bad boys of hip-hop. This dude, his name is Mark Curry. Now, Mark Curry was a songwriter, much like Sci-Hi the Prince. Okay, hold on, let me type this up. Okay? Mark Curry basically said, now remember Bad Boy for Life? This was around the time when Bad Boy was really going through some things. Now, he wrote that song, and it was P. Diddy and Black Rob. I like that one, but I really like that Special Delivery with and G Dep. So Bad Boy had to get some real heavy hitters. Black Rob had been down for a minute. So basically he went down to Atlanta. Let me see here. He was on Muscle Game of Black Rob's Story. He was on G Dep's Let's Get It remix from Child of the Ghetto. Okay, so it says 2009 to present life. So look, check this out. And I believe them. Now, a lot of people, you got to think, it was the same thing with Cuban Link. Oh, man, this broke nigga. He ain't with Big Pun no more. Big Pun's gone. He lying. He a hater. He hating on Fat Joe. Now what we come to find out. We got this nigga Fat Joe basically saying Black Americans is broke. You know, it's a bunch of racist blacks. See, that's how white folks talk. I ain't never heard you tell me, man, DP, that black dude over there racist. Black folks cannot be racist. We don't have the power to do so. You know, and when you hear comments like that, you're like, wait a minute, this sounds real white. So we start kind of digging it up a little bit and said, okay, you got Cuban Link talking, you got all these people that's kind of like, yeah, man, that nigga be on one. You know what I'm saying? And so in 2009, he released his book, Dancing with the Devil. It contained a number of scurrilous anecdotes about Combs and Bad Boy Records, which Curry began writing in the belief that Combs would try to deal with me fairly if he knew I was going to air his dirty laundry. The book claimed that Combs copied Curry's mannerisms and guide vocals verbatim for his 98 single Come With Me. He said that he didn't receive his royalty checks, that he would insist on his sports cars being featured in artists' music videos so he could deduct high rental fees from their budgets, and he would then claim tax credits for his business cars that he regularly muscled his way into unearned songwriting and production credits, and that he would flaunt his wealth around the people he was exploiting. Now, when you really look at Diddy, now here's the thing. You asked me before, why don't black folks throw him under the bus? Because we know that race soldiers are targeting him only because he's black. But here's the thing, Sean. You done cut a lot of brothers' throats. You got niggas walking for cheesesteak. Folks ain't forgot about that. You know what I'm saying? The way you went about doing it. Let me ask you a question, Solomon. Have you ever heard Master P or Jay Prince or even Yo Gotti, far as that we could go? Have you seen them publicly shame people? Talk to them like they're beneath them? Have you seen that?
No, not with P. I never seen that with P.
You never see that. Now, he might have a deal that you might be like, well, yeah, he didn't pay this lady right here for their comedy thing or whatever. You're like, okay, well, but
that's a lot of bread.
But far as we know, Master P, remember, when Snoop Dogg left Death Row, he didn't own shit. Now, one person may say, well, yeah, Suge Knight fought for his murder case. That nigga could be doing life right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, you could say that too. You could be like, well, yeah, Suge Knight paid Snoop's lawyer fees. That's true. He did. You know what I'm saying? Now, at the same time, as bad as Death Row was having its issues, Master P said, all right, man, how much you owe? How much he cost you? Obviously, Suge felt like it was worth selling the contract to P rather than keeping Snoop. He didn't want to invest in Snoop no more. Snoop probably didn't want to be there. Snoop was probably feeling like, well, damn, man, I ain't getting no bread. Suge was probably giving that nigga a car and some hoes and probably told Snoop, nigga, I'll slap you, nigga. You know what I'm saying? I'll slap the shit out you, you tall, lanky ass Crip nigga. You know what I'm saying? You owe me money. I got you off a murder case. Snoop probably like thinking like, man, fuck. I'm Snoop Dogg. You got to think, Snoop. We're talking about 1993, bro. How old were we in 93? 10? We're talking about with gangster rap and Snoop and Dr. Dre. I mean, this was before streaming. This was before the internet. Every person on the planet had that damn album in South Minneapolis, North Minneapolis, Chicago, LA. Everywhere. You had white boys that was breaking their neck to buy that stuff. When gangster rap hit the scenes, it was new. It was like, damn, they said F the police. What's going on in LA? Why are they saying F the police? You start looking back at Watts. You start looking back at LA. You see race soldiers that they hire from Mississippi going all the way to LA. Killing pregnant black women. Beating on black men. You see what I'm saying? Why did they say F the police? That's why. They went down to Mississippi. They said, hey, you know how to deal with Negroes. Y'all are some perfect race soldiers. Come on down here to LA. Chief Parker. You see what I'm saying? That's how they was thinking. Niggas was like, man, F the police, man. We being mistreated out here in LA. We gonna turn up. Rodney King. You see? So America was like, whoa, we've never heard that before. This is revolution. Foundational blacks. They're the architects of American revolution. They freed themselves off the plantation and they're trying to free themselves off the projects. You see what I'm saying? The white boys, they love that shit. Oh my gosh, whoa. So you got to think the average white dude that got a son in 1992, 93, he's 14, 15, 16, 17. You know how a lot of little young white kids rebel. F you, mom. I like Snoop Dogg. Oh, he's a nigger. You know, they don't need no reparations. Why do you have these niggers on your why do you have these niggers on your on my wall? They're being mistreated, mom. Snoop Dogg. F you. You know what I'm saying? They rebellious. You know, little young white kids get rebellious. You know?
Yeah.
You know, little young white girl, you know, they tell her, hey, you know, don't deal with them those N-words. I'll disown you. Oh, I'm gonna get a big black cock, dad. Fuck you, dad. You know what I'm saying? They rebellious. You know, that eats them up.
That's the first thing a dad. Any dad that loves his daughter, or any white dad that loves his daughter, the first thing you're gonna tell her is don't bring no nigger in the house.
Don't bring no nigger home. And she's like, you know what? I need that. I need that pipe. I'm gonna get it. You tell you I'm missing out. You telling me something that you really don't want me around this. I'm curious. Let me go find out. Eats him up. Eats him alive. She be sitting around smoking weed, sipping on gin and juice, listening to the Snoop Dogg. Ain't never had no gin and juice in her damn life. Her daddy ain't never had no gin and juice in the house. That nigga got scotch.
Right. African Americans built this nation.
That nigga got scotch. Ain't never had no gin and juice. He's sitting up here listening to gin and juice like, man, what's that in my daughter? He's used voodoo against my daughter, these niggers. You see what I'm saying? Can't get her out of it. She ain't going. I like Snoop Dogg. I'm going to the show. F you, dad. Break his heart. They didn't know what to do. They're like, damn, we put him on plantations. We gave him all these jabs and Tuskegee Institute, and you know what I'm saying? We tried to annihilate him. We can't get rid of these niggers. What could we do? Like, you know what I'm saying? That eats him up. That eats him up, bro. He don't know what to do. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so, you know, anyway, you know, we got, you know, but see, those years were a time where, you know, you remember when, and I want our listeners to understand, we had to be outside. If you're talking shit to somebody and you say you're going to beat them up, you got to see them in school.